Hello and welcome to Royal Vibes. Welcome to another interesting episode where we are going to be discussing on the latest on the royal family. We are going to be discussing on two stories in this episode. Firstly, talking about this very shocking story claiming that Harry and Meghan are uninvited to state reception at the Buckingham Palace. Initially, they did receive an invitation to the event, but later they have now been retracted. We are going to be discussing on that. Then, secondly, talking about this other report claiming that the Queen's grandchildren are set to hold a vigil at her coffin with Duke of Sussex in uniform. So, Prince Harry will wear a uniform this time around when the Queen's grandchildren hold a vigil at her coffin. We are going to be looking at that. So before we get right into those stories, please do ensure to subscribe, give the video a like as we get right into it. Prince Harry and wife Meghan Markle appear to have been uninvited from an event hosted by King Charles and Camilla, Queen Consort, at Buckingham Palace on Sunday evening. The state reception will be held at Buckingham Palace for a number of world leaders and foreign royals, but according to the Telegraph, the couple are unlikely to attend as palace officials say the grand event is for working members of the firm. It is not clear why the pair initially received an invitation in the event is only for working members of the royal family, as the pair stepped down from their official duties in March 2020. Palace aides have reportedly insisted the pair were not invited to the event, while sources close to them are said to be baffled. Joe Biden, the US president, and Emmanuel Macron, the French president, will be among hundreds of heads of state who will be welcomed to London on the eve of Queen Elizabeth's funeral. Then on to the next story of discussion. The Queen's grandchildren will stand guard around her coffin in London on Saturday, hours after their parents held an emotional vigil in the Palace of Westminster. Notably, the Duke of Sussex will join his brother, the Prince of Wales, in wearing uniform around the coffin in Westminster Hall ahead of the Queen's state funeral on Monday. Harry, who saw action on the front line during 2 hours of duty in Afghanistan, has previously been denied the chance to wear his military uniform, as he publicly mourns because he is no longer a working royal. But royal sources say the king has decided his youngest son can wear uniform for the vigil, saying he will stand at the foot of the coffin with William at the head. William will be flanked by his cousins Zara Tindall and Peter Phillips, the children of the Princess Royal, while Harry will be with Duke of York's daughters, Princess Beatrice and Eugenie, it has been reported. The Earl of Wessex children, Lady Louise and Viscount Severn, are due to stand near the middle of their grandmother's coffin. Despite being a former army officer, he has been in civilian dress for official events, including walking behind his grandmother's coffin on Wednesday when it was carried to Westminster Hall for lying in state. On Friday evening, the Queen's children Charles, the Duke of York and Princess Royal and the Earl of Wessex took part in their own vigil. The King, Anne, Andrew and Edward had solemn looks on their faces as they stood vigil around their mother's coffin, with their heads bowed throughout as members of the public filed slowly past them. It comes as final preparations are underway for the funeral on Monday, with politicians and royal dignitaries from around the world expected to arrive throughout the weekend. On Saturday, Prime Minister Liz Truss will meet the Prime Ministers of Australia and New Zealand, Anthony Albanese and Jacinda Ardern, at the government's Chevening Country residence, a number 10 spokesperson said. Charles will also meet chiefs of staff at Buckingham Palace on Saturday and visit police headquarters to thank the emergency services of their work in planning the funeral. On Sunday, Ms. Truss will meet Irish Taoiseach Michael Martin, Canadian Premier Justin Trudeau, Polish President Andrzej Duda, and US President Joe Biden at Downing Street. She will have an audience with the king before attending his reception for visiting heads of state at Buckingham Palace on Sunday. Charles concluded his tour of the home nations on Friday, starting his day with a visit to Wales after trips to Northern Ireland and Scotland in recent days. Meanwhile, thousands of people continue to queue to see the Queen's coffin laying in state, with some facing more than a day in line. As of 5 a.m. on Saturday, the Department of Digital, Culture, Media and Sports line in State Queue Tracker said lines were expected to last for at least 12 hours after stretching out to 25 hours earlier in the morning. Those inside Westminster Hall were briefly shocked on Friday night when a man was arrested after moving out of the Queen to approach the Queen's coffin. Metropolitan Police said the incident occurred around 10 p.m. as a live feed from inside the hall cut away for a brief period. A statement from Scotland Yard said around 10 p.m. on Friday, 16 September, officers from the Met Parliamentary and Diplomatic Protection Command detained a man in Westminster Hall following a disturbance. He was arrested for an offense under the Public Order Act and is currently in custody. 2,000 people will gather inside Westminster Abbey in London on Monday for the Queen's funeral. Some 800 people, including members of Queen's household and Windsor Estate staff, will attend the committal service afterwards at 4 p.m. in St. George's Chapel, Windsor Castle. After the funeral, the King and members of the royal family will walk behind the Queen's coffin in Wellington Arch when it leaves Westminster Abbey before it is driven to Windsor on the state hearse. So guys, with that, we have come to an end of this episode. Thanks a lot for watching. Until next time, bye bye.